Well, we're back. Another edition. Unbelievably, let's do this again.
Yeah, I know.
Another edition of Less Kevin, More Tech from UTEC IT.
.com. You got
.com. So today, Les, our guest, is a guy that, we had a mutual friend of the company here, Tom McInerney, who invited us out to play the wonderful Orchard Lake Country Club.
Very nice.
And I see this dude out there hitting balls and stuff like that. So I walk down to the range and give him a couple tips on this game. Get that swing dialed in. And he seemed like a nice young dude. So I said, hey, why don't you come play with us? We got 3.
Yeah.
And join us for the round. And so this guy comes out and, I'm pumped up first tee, do hit a ball straight down the fairway. And then the pummeling after that from this guy kicking my buttocks on the golf course was unreal. And this guy we're talking about is none other than Joe Hooks, a Detroit Gym, right?
Yes, sir.
Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome,
Pleasure
Joe.
to be here, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, how did it feel? I just got to ask this question. It was obviously an ego boost to golf next to Kevin, right? You just
No.
You just felt,
We all
compare and contrast.
We all know our lanes, So I'm big on knowing my lane and staying in it and having respect for everybody else that does well in theirs. So
yes. He didn't hit you with a ball, or nobody was in.
I said, look, if I lay down for you, let's just let you trample over me. Would you be on a podcast with me? Right, Christine? Is that how we got him on there?
That's right.
Yeah, Christine was with us in our foursome, and so I think after getting crushed by Joe, stomped on by Tom, and totally whipped by Christine, my high score on the scorecard.
Is that why you invited me to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. That whole thing about cutting me off on 10 shots per hole, though, I don't know.
Well, my wife knows I finished in the top 4. I didn't tell her it was just a foursome. So
yeah.
But anyway, so our guest today, Joe Hooks. This is somebody that anybody listening to the podcast has got to meet, because this is a young man that's just phenomenal. I was completely impressed, weren't you, Christine, with him on the golf course?
100%. Golf, and then his story. He's got a great story and big things ahead.
So I'll shut up, Joe. Tell us about yourself.
I appreciate it. You guys are too kind. But yeah, I'm Joe Hooks, and born in the city, and pretty much like raised in the city and around the city, but especially everything I've done from birth through college, has all been within the city limits of Detroit. And
a good thing you said Detroit, because this is an international podcast,
right?
So there's lots of cities, but yeah, he's a Detroit guy, right? Motor City kitty.
Yes, sir. And my parents, my dad was born in the city as well. Has 4 siblings, and my mom was born actually down in Miami, and my mom's side of the family, they moved up here back in the late 60s and early 70s. That's when they moved to Detroit. My mom has 6 siblings. And
is for the weather, right?
Right. I think more so for the automotive opportunities, for just jobs and stuff. So we still have a lot of family down in Fort Lauderdale in South Florida. And so my mom and my dad both, pretty much raised here in the city, and they've done a great job in kind of making sure that I had a very strong background based in Detroit, and went to high school, UD Jesuit. They joined Detroit Golf Club the year before I was born, which kind of allowed me to be around the sport. You could say the sport, at a very high clip, and to be around the movers and shakers of the city and Metro Detroit as a whole. And it really taught me how to kind of just move around different people of all backgrounds, and under the mutual, I guess you can say, sport of golf, and the mutual love and passion for a game that a lot of people don't really get the access to over.
Was it both your mom and dad that were into golf? Or
Nope. So my dad started playing probably about 8 or 9 years before I was born. I was born in 1993, and so he started playing in the 80s. And my dad owned a couple supermarkets, so that was his business. And so in '84, he got his first store, and started playing shortly after that, and a buddy of his in the retail business convinced him that he probably should consider or gear up to join a golf club, because a lot of
connections,
and especially like all the black professionals that that are like-minded and professionals of all sorts, especially. But Detroit Golf Club has always had like a large black membership, so it was a good space for my dad to kind of just get even more acumen with the game and
help
gain
his
more
business.
Connections and help business. So so I mean that was how that got started, and then I just gravitated towards it over the years. My dad was never forced me to play. He never really had to beg me to go to the golf course. It was just something that he strategically got me addicted to, I think, by pretty much going to golf trips and stuff with his buddies and, making me want to be out there with them, like, Dad, where are you type stuff. And slowly I just wanted it more and more.
How old were you when it clicked, so to speak? I mean, because you were exposed to it. It sounds like you had a great time, great, family, family activity. But at some point in time, because you're right now playing at the elite levels, right? So, but at some point in time, it clicks. Right?
Well, I mean, I won my first tournament when I was 7 years old, and that got me into the U.S. Kids World Championship. So that was you win like for your age here in Michigan, and at that time that was the largest. It still may be, especially for younger kids, but that was for sure like the largest,
that's cool.
most important like junior event in the state of Michigan for younger kids. So I win that, go down to Jekyll Island, and it definitely was a rude awakening, because some of those kids are really, really, really good and playing year round.
7 years old.
Yeah. And I was so young too, but you get your eyes open to the fact that a lot of kids are playing year round, and I had a lot of work to do to just kind of maintain, and I got my work in 6 months out the year, and it kind of, I had some catching up to do once it was time to turn pro. Don't get me wrong, but I say I've done not too bad to kind of fill in the gaps where I've been able to, and with the resources I've had, and it's
that's awesome.
Just the sky's the limit now. I mean,
so with that, and that's a great point, especially because you played college golf at Wayne State, right? And so with Michigan's winter months, how much has technology? I mean, you got to really rely on technology, right, in the winter months to help your game,
especially now.
I mean, how have you seen technology from, obviously it's changed a lot, but from when you were a junior golfer and using technology with golf to what kind of technology you use now?
I didn't really have access to anything like simulators or anything like that, when I was younger. Like, I think DGC has somewhat of a simulator system set up now. We had, due to some, unforeseen circumstances and just tough business-related situations, we had to leave in 2012. But, my dad was able to sacrifice, like, what we needed to keep me there through high school and all that. But, Detroit Golf Club is totally different now, and all country clubs, for the most part, are different. They have simulators.
So are we getting a vision here that you're 12 and you're in the family living room swinging, practicing in the winter months? Or
Well, I mean, I
you had to get your swings in somewhere.
I didn't do, like, a whole lot, to be quite honest. Like, I went to the Dome a little bit and stuff like that, but definitely, I think I started working out. I had a trainer that wasn't too far from our house, a guy named Dave Davis. I had him back starting when I was about 13 or so, 14, and that was just like golf fitness and stuff. And then the golf studio did open up like down the street from our house as well, called Pure Impact, and like that was somewhere junior, senior, well, I guess you can say sophomore, junior, senior year of high school, where I could go in and get a little bit of work in. But now a place like that would be all simulators, but back then it was just hitting into the net, indoors for a little bit of a putting green and stuff. So
like this side of the table, you were an athlete, unlike us, Les. But didn't you play basketball too as a kid?
I did, yeah. I played AAU basketball up until high school.
Okay.
And the reason why I didn't continue to play in high school is because the golf season switched from from the fall to the spring, and so like coming out of the basketball season,
right,
I couldn't risk being hurt,
injured,
you know what I'm saying, or trying to recover from an injury going into the golf season, because obviously golf was the the real love, and even though I was good at basketball, it wasn't couldn't really sacrifice that or risk that.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I would think as a kid growing up, I mean, you talk Detroit Golf Club. I mean, what a gym to be able to go out there every day. And
huge blessing, man.
It's where we hold the Rocket Mortgage Classic, one of the premier golf events out there on the PGA Tour. And now you get to golf there as a kid every day. It had to be kind of special and unique, wasn't it?
It was, and it really, really dawned on me once I got older. I never took anything for granted when I was younger being there, but I mean, like it's brought me to tears kind of thinking about it in, some recent years, because like, especially when my dad finally filled me in on what was going on with our business, I was like 22, well after we had left. He never told me like what happened that caused, us to start having, difficult financial times. And, thinking about it and thinking about like how amazing that place is and the people really, more than anything, right? Like it taught me how to just move around people of all different backgrounds and just all different levels of success, celebrities, athletes, musicians, and then of course attorneys, doctors, business, successful business people. Like I spent time hanging, playing golf with these people when my dad was at work.
Yeah.
So like that really kind of helped mold me.
Sacrifices, right?
No, 100%. Like I didn't really realize how much of a sacrifice it was until my early 20s. And my dad kind of shielded me from that. My parents shielded me from that. So
that's part of your core being as a human.
100%.
Yeah.
Like 100%. And
that's awesome.
U of the Jesuit definitely did, kind of help mold me into the way I am as well. It's a Jesuit, Jesuit high school, and we had a class, required class to graduate that was called morality, and within that morality class, we had a little I guess you can say like a little stretch on vocation, and that was the first time I'd ever heard the word, really used, and it taught me that like you need to understand what your calling may be, what you may have, what you've been blessed to do or be good at or have a liking for at an early age or, as you get older, and figure out a way to, give that back to the world.
So you felt almost a moral responsibility to pursue.
Absolutely. I mean, because, it's your average black kid especially, and, kids from inner city backgrounds, they don't have a clue the access that golf gives you and the people that you can meet, whether you're playing at a high level or not. Like if you know how to move around a golf environment and play, or even be in the golf industry, like the numbers I have on my phone are unbelievable, and it's all just because of what
Did you
golf.
Get my number?
Well, no, I think it was the second hole. I must have four-putted, and we were walking off the green. I said to Christine, I said, "Holy hell, who did Tom hook us up with?" And so she starts telling me his background. I was just blown away with, because I've seen this guy swing, and the swing's perfect, right? You know what I mean? And the ball's going 300 or 400 yards off the tee, and it looks like my putt's going 300 or 400 yards past the hole. But no, he was really cool. And so Christine, he was meeting. This was actually a tune-up before he left for Bermuda, right?
Bermuda, yep.
Yes.
So Joe, you're on the APGA tour.
The Advocates Professional Golf Association. Yeah.
Okay. And so that's so just for people that might not be know golf and where the tours, they hear about the PGA Tour, and some may or may not know about the Korn Ferry Tour, which is the tour that is kind of leading up to the PGA Tour. So you're working your way up to the Korn Ferry Tour. Is that
ideally,
right? Is that
yes,
ideally?
absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I mean, that's I do want to. I like to kind of keep the two combined, right? The Korn Ferry / PGA Tour, because like you could very well slip up and get status before getting Korn Ferry Tour status. You get PGA Tour status before if you do what is very hard to do, and get a start and make the most out of it. It's very possible, but it's hard, but it's possible, right? So the goal is just PGA Tour status as a whole, whether it's Korn Ferry or managing to get some starts on PGA Tour, right? But the APGA is actually partnering with the PGA Tour, and I should say the PGA Tour is a large supporter of the APGA in regards to like our access to TBC golf courses and a couple other big time major championship venues, and their relationship with the APGA has given us access to some sponsor exemptions, giving us access to potentially getting status on Korn Ferry Tour and getting Q School paid for. This is just stuff that's kind of absolutely, and this is just stuff that is kind of just now starting to make its way through, and through the fold. And the relationship with the PGA Tour and the APGA, I'm sure it's going to continue to grow. The people at the PGA Tour are very committed to helping us, that are on the PGA Tour, which is, majority of, pretty much the best black players, black talent in the country and minority talent as a whole, Hispanic, Black, Asian. But, and it's not only it's minorities playing the tour, but like it is geared for us to compete against each other and kind of be like a showcase spot for us to play at, a high level, play high, great golf courses and compete.
And get a shot.
And get a chance, you know what I'm saying? Just like a real chance.
Yeah.
Because there, without doubt, there is like a lot of catching up to do in regards to the minority access to the game of golf.
Right.
And it's not just on the course, but it's in the industry as a whole.
Right.
One of the coolest qualifying tournaments I heard about was, is it the Shipman?
The John Shippen.
John Shippen. Qualifying for the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So can you explain to people, because I just heard about it when I was playing golf with you, at Orchard Lake. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I never even heard of that before.
Right. So the John Shippen Invitational, it was started by pretty much the team at Intersport and Rocket Mortgage Classic, and they wanted to create an event where the top, a group of high-level, minority players could play for a spot in the Rocket Mortgage Classic if you win. So they set, the golf course up just like they do on the PGA Tour. We play the Shore Golf Club the week of the Rocket, the week leading up to the Rocket, so that weekend usually. And then, we go out, 2-day shootout, and whoever wins gets a spot in the Rocket Mortgage.
That's awesome.
Amazing opportunity. The job that Intersport has done with like just the promotion and like the signage and the attention to detail and making it a real world-class experience, like it is unbelievable.
That's something that I think, not to do a plug for Intersport, but that's something they deserve credit for, and I think this 100% APGA Tour is so important because you've talked about it, that you're at such a fine line with the golf competition you're at, right? What I mean? They're so good there that without having opportunities like that to understand, because I imagine when you pull up to a tournament, it's intimidating to any of these clubs you're going to, because you get to play at these remarkable golf courses like the Detroit Golf Club, but learning how to carry yourself, right? You know what I mean? Just the locker room, access to all the facilities, If you never grew up in this environment, that could be very intimidating.
Absolutely.
Plus, now you got to go play golf against some of the best golfers in the world.
Right.
I would think that this would be a huge opportunity for
it's huge, man.
For folks.
I mean, and
it's important, right?
It's very important. I mean, just from a numbers game, this just is a tool and another major resource for us to kind of just get the numbers up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just it definitely can bump up the numbers because the lack of minorities in the game of golf, it's just a matter of, it's a numbers game, you know what I'm saying? And like, what can we do to just continue to bump up, the interest, from minority level, and then the access to the resources that are absolutely needed to have a chance.
Or for the game.
It's expensive.
The
game as a whole is expensive.
Yeah.
So, and for anybody, it's expensive. So you can either spend the money or you can't, right? So it is tough.
So I like, I have fun with it, but one of the things about like racket sports, right? People in racket sports, after you get your tennis shoes and a racket, you can play and there's public. But I look at this and this is a commitment.
Right, it is. And absolutely.
To play
Don't be comparing pickleball to what Joe Hooks does.
I use racket sports as trying to stay.
As a whole. I defend him on that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry he insulted you there and offended you. I mean, I cannot believe.
Ask him what his buddies play.
He said.
Yeah, I got some, retired, NFL and NBA guys, but like younger retired buddies that are absolutely addicted to pickleball. So, I'm not saying that I'm going to get in, start to indulge. I'll mess around and roll an ankle or something. And
Don't settle for that. This guy hits the golf ball 350 yards straight as a nail.
Absolutely
and
not.
You're talking about pickleball. Unbelievable.
So
we'll see him out at
a recent tournament, right? Bermuda. I think playing with Kevin and myself the week before really got you geared up, and you almost pulled it off. You ended up in a playoff, right?
Yes, that was very similar experience to the John Shippen, except obviously it was international, right? Like you had the team
another level of competition.
Absolutely, but you had the team at the Butterfield, PJ Butterfield Bermuda Championship. You had their team kind of. And the Tourism Authority of Bermuda, have the best minority players from the States or a group of them come and compete for one spot in the PGA Tour event, which was this past week. And, I mean, they absolutely laid it out for us, and, like, I can't thank the PGA Tour enough for such an opportunity because in the PGA Tour and just the APGA and the team down there at that tournament because, like, the golf course was – set up to, the absolute tees and the nines. Like it
looked gorgeous.
The golf course was beautiful. The weather, for the most part, was great. It was a little bit rainy. For like 2 of the days, like the practice round day and first round of the tournament, like we were dodging, some storms and stuff. But I mean, the opportunity to go down there and compete on the PGA Tour course, and we played from debatably a tougher setup, especially that first and second day. We played a tougher setup than the PGA Tour guys did. Like, we're watching the tour guys hit from spots that we never saw because of tees being up and stuff like that. So point being, like, everybody went down and held their own, and everybody was just, like, played with such class and enjoyed the entire trip as a whole with such class. And, I mean, I think that was the whole point, too. Everybody wanted to really make sure that we enjoyed it, you know.
And you competed pretty well down there too, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And I had the only bad 9 I had was my very last 9.
And you were leading going into
I was up by 2 strokes going into the final round, 4 under, going into the final round. Shoot 3 under on the front, but I'm hitting my driver bad. I'm just kind of holding it together with my putter, and the driver cost me a couple strokes on the back 9, but I managed to kind of hold it together and birdie. I was the only birdie on hole 16 for the tournament, and I was the only eagle on hole 17 for the tournament, like coming down the stretch, right? And so just like that, I take the lead going into the last hole after being down and really struggling for a little short stretch of holes, and I mean. The putt that I missed in regulation to win outright was unfortunate, but I think it was. I took it as more so like a sign that it wasn't really my wasn't really my time yet. Because that putt coming up short, an inch short, like it did on the lip, like it was. Obviously it hurt, but reflecting and doing my little bit of journaling and stuff, I'm like, okay, look, bro, we got plenty of opportunities on the way. And then, I mean, just so happened to, like, meet Christine and Kevin the week before, and, you have a sense when someone wants to help you and kind of, like, help you kind of further your opportunities and further your mission, and they definitely kind of, like, were people that I met that I'm like, they're very genuine, and I know that this is going to lead to something great. So, I mean, that was something in the back of my head where I'm like, look, I have –
it's awesome.
Opportunities that are going to be breaking through soon. So that was just the reality of it.
That finish is no surprise when I go back and look at what you've done this year. What is it? 6 top 5 finishes in the
8,
6 or 8.
8 top 5
shorten
finishes.
A couple
no,
here,
yeah, no, it's all good.
But 8 top 5 finishes in what 11, 12 events.
Yeah,
which I mean, remarkable.
It is. I mean, it's just a testament to like my mindset kind of shifting this year. Absolutely, like a little bit of uptick in resources with not to plug Golf Tech, but like that's been huge. Kind of just being able to go in anywhere in the country and get work in with the simulators and using the technology to further, my game and kind of just keep things in check and keep things in order. But once again, that's just a matter of resources, right? Like it's a company that I was connected with, and they were willing to help me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just a resource that I've been able to make the most out of. And that's a lot of the guys on the PGA Tour. Most of them, they've had resources for a long time. And it's just a matter of like how hard they're going to work to make those resources, turn those resources into something greater.
I'm glad you mentioned Golf Tech there, because I was admiring your I mean, people got to meet you first and foremost. So if anybody's listening to this podcast, they got to look Joe Hooks up, and they got to come
on social media.
Yeah, you got to come meet this guy. Cool dude, great golfer. But I didn't know if you were a model or a golfer when I first met you, because this guy is the most sharply dressed dude I've seen. And this Golf Tech, I mean, I've been admiring the different pullovers and the golf shirts you had there. Do they do anything for podcasters? I mean, would they?
Roback?
Roback, yeah.
Roback. No, you're good. Well, Roback, yeah, they very well made, man. The team, they love me, and when I speak on somebody, they definitely will, look out.
Tell them we need some podcaster swag, right? You know what I mean? Because this stuff is like first class, man. I'm looking at this, and
I appreciate
it's high quality. Man. I mean, it's cutting edge and very fashionable.
Thank you so much.
Like you, man. Yeah. So
we need high quality if we're gonna wear.
So Joe, what is your winter off months look like? What do you go out west?
Yep, heading back over to Arizona.
Is that where you spend your winters mostly?
Yes, okay. Yes, at least now, especially like it started second half of last winter. But, so I'll be heading back over there. And, it's plenty of events to plan over there. That I used to live in Florida, and Florida was great. But, like, my access to resources in Arizona, and especially now, a couple great connections I have over in, Southern California, it's good. That's a little bit of a better base for me, and better base for my game. And the sun shines more out there, out west.
Where are you in Scottsdale?
Yes. Yeah. So
you're gonna be there next January.
Yeah.
February.
Hey Joe, I got a kind of more of a personal kind of a question. So, so some of the things, this good family, rock solid upbringing, family made sacrifices, and then the high school. You mentioned the classes and the morality class and things like that, and then now you're on a mission, right? You have a personal mission. So I see a lot more potential pressure. You get what in other words, because it's not just the pressure of the sport and the pressure of the competing, but you're also the pressure of representing,
right?
And you have a bigger picture that goes beyond the golf game. So. And then I heard you say journaling. So how do you handle that? I mean, what is your personal strategies? Because from what I heard, the tournament, the pre-tournament to the Rocket Mortgage, you win, you're in.
Right.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's all about managing the present, right? Like you can control I can control everything that I'm doing right now, at this very second, and staying locked in on your present mind, and kind of taking steps to, I guess you can say, take care of the present,
your attitude,
and controlling those things. That's very important, right? And I mean, I really value kind of just maintaining, like, well, I guess you can say I really value controlling the things that I can control.
Right. Wow.
I mean. And especially on the golf course, like, it's so important, especially at our level, kind of just to let things go off your shoulder. You can get upset real quick, here and there, but to let things go. And the first thing I can control in regards to even making an impact and kind of like my mission as a professional golfer and a face in the game of golf, my mission, can only be accomplished if I control what I can control on the golf course, like first and foremost. So, I mean, that's first and foremost, I have to be the best golfer I can be, right? Yeah. So that's putting the work in, getting in the gym, going to Golf Tech, going to the range, working on the short game, like, and I mean, being a good person, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you can't have can't have anything in the back of your head weighing you down, like, oh man, you know, knowing that you treated somebody a certain way, like you just can't have that type of stuff happen. And I mean, being a good person is first and foremost.
Those
you know, one of those
lessons.
things. That's one of those things that, you know, we can control.
Well, you know,
in the present. So
you see what separates him, because when we were golfing out there, I think it was hole 15, maybe. It was par 5, and you know, our fourth, Tom McInerney, hits a shot we thought was going to be a double eagle there for a second on that par 5, and the ball rolls right by the pin, and he's got like a 2-foot, maybe 2.5-foot eagle putt. And the guy blows it right by the hole, right? You know what I mean? So he gets a tap in birdie because he misses this eagle putt. And, you know, that guy folded like a cheap suit after that. And I don't think we heard from him again. But, you know, Joe, so we were laughing about this.
He turned to flag football after that.
and so we talk about this. And Joe.
Mental.
You know, and Joe said, hey, I just got done playing, was it 100 holes of golf earlier in the year?
Yeah.
Now, listen to this stat, Les, okay? 100 holes of golf, and the guy finishes 44 under, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah, wow.
For 100 holes of golf.
And how many hours?
From 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Wow.
Hey, but talk
12 hours.
12
Wow.
hours.
Or no, 14.
Yeah, that's 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our math challenge folks here, 14 hours. But tell us how you started off on this. This is really remarkable.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and it's funny because I had just had a long stretch of, I guess you can say, traveling. I just finished up a tournament, and then, where was I? I was coming down from Atlanta. So no, not yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. But anyway, get up to Sweetens Cove, and my buddy is ambassador for Youth on Course, and, you know, he asked me earlier in the year to do this, so we raised $60,000. Our team raised $60,000 for we raised a little bit more than that, but like at that point we had raised like $60,000. That was our goal for Youth on Course. And if no one knows what Youth on Course is, they're an organization that basically funds the access to golf courses by allowing kids to only pay $5
That's awesome.
to play, right? Yeah. At 1,800 courses around the country. So
it's really good.
yeah, so their 100-hole hike is the largest fundraiser that they have, because you have these groups of influencers and some celebrities and athletes that are put together, these groups of 4 or 5, and they show up to what was the largest hike at Sweetens Cove of the year, which is 5 teams that are pretty much consist of well-known
celebrities.
Not celebrities, but like just influencers especially, you know, and some couple business people. And, you know, you're just going out and playing 100 holes, and you have to walk, you have to carry your bag.
Really?
But it's Sweetens Cove, so like it's a very walker-friendly piece of property. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, right? But anyway, I played solid the first 18-hole loop, the first loop, I guess you can say. And then second loop, start out with an albatross, first hole, par 5.
Les, do you know what that is?
I was looking for you guys.
Like a
So that's
double
a
eagle.
2 on a par 5. Start out with a 2 on a par 5. And then 2 holes later, the next par 5, I made an eagle. And then 10 holes after that eagle, I made a hole in one.
Wow.
It's like in a 12-hole stretch, I have like, you know, something that contributed to a very wild day. And I only made 4 bogeys that day
Out of
100 holes.
That's incredible.
And finished at 44 under. Now every one of the groups has a scorekeeper. Well, really, they called it our Sherpa. He was a member of Sweetens Cove that, you know, kind of drives the cart and hangs on to like the food and keeps the score for all the players as well. And
You could probably skinny your bag down, right? Like as far as
I
only carried certain
I had
clubs.
7 clubs. Yeah.
Wow.
So you shot 44 under with 7 different. That's it.
Yeah, wow. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
Do you know how many clubs are normally in a golf?
It looks to me like a dozen or so. I don't know.
14.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a half a bag.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah,
If you got to walk
that's
100
incredible.
holes, gosh.
But to shoot that with
that
only
was
half
that
your
was
bag.
just one of those moments though. Like I kind of spoke of like I knew that if I didn't control what I can control, you know what I'm saying? If I didn't kind of just stay locked in, I knew that it would be easier to quit and kind of like make a waste out of the fun of it, which the fun of it would have been playing well, right, and trying to play as well as I could for the entire 100 holes. And I mean, I knew that if I just kind of like let go at any point, it would just go sideways because the mental fatigue and the physical fatigue for sure was, starting to set in.
But those lessons are transferable to virtually everything in life. I mean, that's fantastic.
Well, you think about these guys, just like he said, in runner-up in this major tournament, misses a putt, one more rotation that goes in, and things change for him immensely, right? But to still be able to bounce back like that and go after it is remarkable. And so anybody listening to this, 100 holes of golf, 44 under, albatross, hole-in-one, and an eagle, and a 18-hole stretch. You look at these 8 top 5 finishes and 12 events. The talent's there. We've got to get you the opportunity. We got to get you the exposure, right?
Right.
To get that, and so having sponsors helps, right?
Absolutely.
To invest in you to get out there and play more of these events,
and even bigger events. Because it's the bigger the opportunity, the more expensive it's going to cost. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? Being able to go to Q school, and
So that UTEC T-shirt.
Yeah, we're going to have to do more than UTEC T-shirt for them, but we want to encourage our friends to take a look at this because if you're talking about an ambassador for your brand, you're talking about a spokesperson for your company, anybody that spends 5 minutes with this guy is just as impressed as we were. Delightful guy, well-educated, well-spoken, understands the it factor of doing something like that for a company.
That's awesome.
And he's got the skill set to match it up. So why don't you give him all the socials? Where can we find him, Christine? Or do you want to throw that out there, Joe?
Yeah, my Instagram is probably my most popular platform, and that's joe.hooks. And I am on Twitter, which is my handle is O snap hooks.
OH, yeah. Say it again.
Double entendre.
Yeah.
O snap hooks, and it's just a double entendre on golf, and people say snap.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, and so I mean those are my 2 most popular platforms, and you can definitely reach out to me for several opportunities or business opportunities or whatever through my Instagram, especially have an email attached to that. So
and I would think anybody considering this, it's the opportunities there. There's all kinds of range, all kinds of price points, right? From big sponsorships to just doing our part to help get you started with something out there. And there's a lot of opportunities for branding and partnership there.
Absolutely.
Dude, you're going to do really well. I'm excited to see what 23 brings for you because you're a rock star. And I know with folks at Intersport and Rocket Mortgage Classic, they're going to be getting a lot more opportunities. You play with the best right now, and you succeed. So it's just a matter of getting that one more revolution on those putts to go in. It's getting that break in a fairway, right, from the ball rolling in a divot to staying out of a divot, and the wind's stepping up at one hole or blowing too hard behind you at the wrong time. So keep it going. We are thoroughly impressed. We're big fans of Joe Hooks here at UTEC. Absolutely. And we're going to be excited to be along on the ride with you.
I appreciate you all for the opportunity to be here. And, like I said, it was a pleasure meeting you. And when you meet good people, especially when you get to play golf with them, you kind of know who's as we say, me, my boys, and my friends say, who's real and who's not.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
So. Well, I showed you. We on the putting course here at UTEC. I dropped the putt in.
Yes, first time,
missed.
He didn't make a putt. He didn't make a putt all day at Orchard Lake. But
I was saving it here for Joe.
Love it.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Joe.
Y'all.
Appreciate it.